Let's talk about the power of real differentiation for producers. In other words, what separates producers who dominate their market from those who struggle to win? And really it comes down to one real factor. It's differentiation. And in this video, we're going to discuss how true differentiation will boost your confidence, it fuels prospecting efforts, and it drives long-term growth. Hi, my name is Randy Schwantz. I'm the developer of the Wedge sales process and also of Bignition, the triple threat solution. What is that? Well, it's the only combination for the middle market commercial insurance industry of sales training, sales CRM, and a sales management platform. And it's all right, so back to differentiation. When producers have real differentiation, something that truly sets them apart, they feel confident, they feel capable of winning business and growing their book. But here's what happens. In fact, I was on the phone with a lady yesterday. She called me up, she went through my training a number of years ago, and she thought, well, maybe you'd be good at helping our current team. And so one of the questions I asked her, what do you feel like is your differentiation? And she says, well, we have really knowledgeable people. They've got a lot of experience. They're well known in the industry. I go, okay, that's nice. So are probably most of your competitors. So really, what is the differentiation? And she looked at me and had that angry look on her face. I'm asking people this question all the time. What is it that sets you apart? What is your differentiation? Well, sometimes I get this. We're local. We got good carriers. We got good people. We contribute to local charities and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, well, but what's your differentiation? And so I've just come to the conclusion as the guy who developed the Wedge sales process, because we use this mantra all the time. It's what you do that the incumbent agent isn't doing is where that prospect is being underserved but doesn't know it. So the more you can define what you do, break it down, black and white, boom, 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 boom. But frankly, it's hard work. And so most people have just never got around to it. But if you did, what would happen is it'd be so much easier to prepare for a sales call. It'd be so much easier to walk in on a sales call, ask questions that then expose the competition's weakness while also it implies that you have strength in that area. And so rather than make it really complicated and you got to have a lot of knowledge, you got to have a lot of experience, you got to have been around the industry for a long, long time, all that kind of stuff, or you got to be a coverage geek. Somebody who studies coverage inside and out, reads, all the little tiny sentences and all that kind of stuff. And I got friends that I play golf with all the time here in my club that are coverage geeks. They made an amazing living doing that. But he came from Chubb. And at Chubb, he got 20 years worth of experience before he became a broker on all the little idiosyncrasies about coverage. So if that's what you want, go get it. And if that's how you made your living, nobody's criticizing it. But for the average producer who wants to win business fast, you need concrete differentiation. You need something where the buyer can compare what you got to what the incumbent's doing and now see that difference and use that to drive the wedge so that you can go win business. All right, so then what is our strategy? To really simplify it, I like to start to think about most agencies. In fact, there's really kind of three types of agencies. Number one is what I'm going to call the capability-rich firm. And you start to look at the big brokerage firms, Hub, USI, Assured Partners, Acrisure. There's probably many, many others, NFP. Capability-rich, resource-rich. If we just look at the property and casualty, they probably have a whole claims management department. They've got a whole loss prevention department. They've got a whole staff of just doing marketing. Well, each of those departments have people. Those people do things. If I can identify what those people do and give it a name, now I can start to convert that into what I'm going to call a proactive service. Something that we do that the incumbent could do but is not, and that's where my buyer is being underserved. But the problem with those big resource-rich capabilities is a lot of producers know that they have the capabilities. They just don't know what those people really do, and they haven't been able to name it. And so when they go on a sales call about what they can do is, well, I'd like to bring my guy in and let them tell you how great they are and what they can do for you, rather than knowing it well enough to be able to use it to drive wedge. All right, so number one, resource-rich, resource capabilities. Down on the bottom side is what I'm going to call the price coverage reactive service firm. And the industry is loaded with price coverage and reactive service firm that base it upon relationship. In other words, if you like me enough, you'll probably buy from me. When I come on a sales call, I'm going to get the policies. I'm going to look for coverage gap. I'm going to take that. I'm going to create application. I'm going to send it off to carriers and wait for the price to come back. And I'll come back and I'm going to present you. Here's your coverage gaps. Here's your price. We're going to be there for you when you need a cert. We'll help you get it out. If you have a claim, we'll help you get it reported. We care about you. We're going to help you. And by the way, we're good guys. So price, coverage, reactive service, and relationship. And then in the middle is what I think of as literally the proactive services firms. The firm that literally could take what they're doing in loss control, what they're doing in claims management, what they're doing in marketing, what they're doing in workers' comp, what they're doing in transportation, and they might have as many as 40 or 50 or 60 proactive individual services that you as a producer could turn into a wedge that they could drag and drop onto a service timeline and create a service plan and win by BOR. So when I sit there and think about differentiation, it's a big deal because when you rely on price, when you rely on coverage, when you rely on reactive service, you know the incumbent has a humongous advantage on you. You just know it, unless you're a real stud or stud muffin. You just know it. And you know that incumbent agent can easily pick up the phone, call the underwriter, get a matching quote to be able to match what you got. Once they find out the coverage gaps, they go, well, we were planning on doing that too. And in many cases, the producer competing against the incumbent gets rolled and the incumbent keeps the business. That's why the retention rate of accounts is in the 94 to 96% range. Why is that? Is that because the incumbent agents God gives to insurance? Probably not. It's probably because they have the incumbency, they get last look, and they get to steal whatever you bring to the table, match it, and that enables them to keep the business. So when you're playing on the price coverage reactive service, you're putting yourself in a pretty awkward position to lose more often than win. So when you go deconstruct your capabilities, break them down into services, stack them up, then it becomes very simple. It's that service you do that the incumbent agent's not doing is where that buyer's being underserved but doesn't know it. The more you know it, the more you can then go on the sales call, wedge it. When you wedge it, you got a chance to win it. But then once you win it, and here's the bad news, if there's any bad news, you got to follow through with it or you'd be a con artist. You'd be winning on something that you don't do. And a lot of the criticisms I've got, from the wedge haters is they go, you teach people to con people. It enables them to win, but then they don't follow through. Well, that's not really true. That'd be like saying that the knife manufacturer, the lawnmower manufacturer, you can take a knife and you can cut your beef or you can stab somebody. What I'm doing is giving people a tool to leverage what they do that's incredibly good and then go win business with it rather than keeping it a secret. Do you have black and white concrete differentiation? And if you're the agency owner and you want confident, motivated producers who like to go out and beat the incumbent, book the revenue, bring it in, grow a big book fast, then you really want to isolate, name, and create your proactive service stack. That's what I call it. When you run sales meetings, you help producers think through it. When producers go on sales calls, they can use those proactive services to wedge. At the end of the wedge call, then they can go create a service plan to get a BOR. And then once you get the BOR, now you can get your service team involved and go, here's what the promises that we made. Let's go do it. And then when you get to the end of the year, and here's the really exciting part. I've got one client that has put a little over 200 of their accounts on a written service timeline using Bignition. And they've got a team of people that help manage that and then update it. And then they can get to the end of the year and then they can monetize what they've done. And inside of Bignition, it's got the ability to, if I did a claims review and I spent 2 hours and an hour of my time's $250, so that's a $500 value I just gave you. If I do it 4 times a year, that's a $2,000 value I just gave you. But when I found a reserve that was too high and we fixed it, then I probably created a $30,000 impact on their business or their bottom line. So inside of Bignition, we made it to where you can actually monetize the work you've done, but also monetize the impact you're having. So you get to the end and you do your quote unquote stewardship report, or what we call a cost control report. you can get your actual client to see an amazing amount of value. And this client of mine said that their average report shows $85,000 worth of impact that they've had on their clients. So that's why out of 200 clients, they retained 196. Now, why the other 4 leave? Lord only knows. I don't know. Maybe they got bought out. Who knows? But that's the power of concrete differentiation. So your producers have something to sell. You can prepare better for your sales call. They go on the sales call. They can wedge and win. Once you win, you put the service timeline in place. At the end of the year, you can then monetize the services and you'll keep that account forever. And then there's that next thing, which is then, because this is a huge sore for everybody, there is so many dollars of client relationships. In other words, if you got 50 clients, your top 10 would be the top 5 clients. Your top 5 clients know people I know that you want to meet, that they could get you into. So probably 3 people each. So 3 times 5 is 15. 15 perfect clients. Your top 5 clients get you into. Average probably 30,000 of revenue. So that's 15 times 5. That's a $500,000 database right there. But nobody's mapping that out for the most part. Agency owners aren't driving that process with your producers. Producers are losing out because they're not booking the revenue. But if you start to put this whole thing together, proactive services, black and white differentiation, I prepare for a sales call, go on sales call, win it, put my service timeline in place to retain it, come up with my monetization report at the end of the year, and then it opens up for me to easily ask for red hot introductions to the people that they know. So, look, man, if you're looking to a rapidly growing agency, then at some point you might want to consider Bignition. If you want to find out about it, it's Bignition, Bignition, Bignition.io. And, go set up a demo call if you're interested in doing that. That's why we're in business. We're in business to help agency owners drive a sales culture using the Bignition triple threat with a sales training platform, a sales CRM, and a sales management platform, all squished into one platform. Hey, look, if you like this video, click the like button and subscribe, and you'll get more of these coming up. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.